I'm going to share it on the page as well. Ibrahim,
Yeah, I'll share it right
if you
now.
want to share, because right now, yeah, right now I did it. It's through my page, right? I mean my own Facebook page, Omar Thabit.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go to it right now.
Let me share.
Sure.
You said you did?
Anyway. Okay, I'm gonna go to your page right now and share it.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that too right now as we speak. Just give me about 1 more minute for everybody that's watching and listening. We're just trying to share the page right now just so we get that going.
I don't see it on your page.
Yeah, if you see it on Omar Thabit.
Yeah, I'm on there right now. It's not on the page.
Okay, hold on. Maybe you know what it is. It's probably not public yet. Let me just do it one more time. I need to make it public. Give me 1 minute. For those that are watching, thank you guys for your patience and waiting. I'm gonna introduce the people that are here right now. Hold on, let me stop this live stream. Live on Facebook. Thank you guys. Omar Malik, we got Omar Malik is here. Thank you, Omar Malik, for being in the building. We also got Bassam Gobah. I'm just trying to get Facebook going right now. So if you guys want to, Omar Malik, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and who you are?
Yeah, sure. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So my name is Omar Malik. I am the head of Almaghrib Institute at Michigan chapter here. Also been a youth director for the last 15 years and love working with the youth and give khutbahs and other things, educational programs. So pretty active in the community. I'm living in Canton, Michigan right now. And I was in Warren, Michigan before. We worked on the youth program there called Youth of Omar. And I'm a software engineer by profession. Three kids, alhamdulillah, and just love traveling and meeting people like you guys.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Omar, for introducing yourself. Ibrahim, by the way, it should be there. It should be good to go. I just want to let you know now. And Bassam Gobah is also with us today. Before I introduce Ibrahim, if you want to, Ibrahim, I just want to let you know your background is very strong, Ibrahim. If you can, like you said, if you want to go in the car or something, we're getting a lot of voices from the background of yours. Yeah, I just muted Ibrahim. So Bassam Gobah, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, Bassam Gobah. I mean, a lot of you probably seen me on Motivate Me 313 a few times, but I was born and raised in Detroit, in our, in Hamtramck and Detroit. I'm a business owner, and I try to stay active in the community. I'm not doing as well as Brother Malik here. He does a lot of great things, mashallah. But we try, and we just try to do the best we can.
Definitely, and Bassam also is a humble guy. He does do great things in the community as well. Appreciate all that you do, Bassam, and I just went ahead, go ahead and shared. So we are good to go, and my wife gave me a thumbs up. So we are good to go for Instagram, and we are good to go for Facebook. And then Ibrahim, whenever he comes back and join us, he will be able to join us. Sorry for that little minor delay, but we are good to go. How's everybody doing? Thank you again, Omar. Thank you again, Bassam. My name is Omar Thabit. I am the host on Debate 9 Motivate Me 313. Get used to these spaces. Like Bassam Gobah said, he's been on here before. Omar Malik, inshallah, we have him this week and inshallah again next week to do a Ramadan special. But we are looking forward to this conversation today. It's a very important conversation we wanted to have, and it's a relationship between the Masjid and the community. We are speaking right now just for the Hamtramck / Detroit community, but Brother Omar will also be talking about different Masjid that he attends and that he can also share his thoughts and insights on everything. Ibrahim right now is unmuted, but he'll be joining us as well. And then we also got Brother Muhammad Malahi should be joining us as well in a few minutes. So with that said, we can get started. Inshallah, if we can, keep our answers to about a couple minutes. I mean, maybe 2-3 minutes the most, so that we can be done before Isha prayer. I'm sure everybody wants to be done before that time so we can pray. And that's around 9:10, from Eastern time. I know everybody might be in a different area. So hopefully we get that done. and we can go ahead and get started with the questions. There's no point of holding it up. If you guys are watching and you guys have questions for us, feel free to shoot them away. Like I said, we are here to have a discussion, and the discussion is about the relationship between the Masjid and the community. We have an amazing panel here with us today, and I can't wait to get started. With that said, I'm going to start off with Brother Omar. He introduced himself already. Thank you again, Omar, again for doing this. So I want to ask you a question that, in general, I know you, like I said, Brother Omar, by the way, I just want to introduce his title as well. Like he mentioned, he is the head of the Michigan chapter at Almaghrib Institute. So he sees a lot of masajid, he sees a lot of different mosques. So how do you feel is the current state of relationship between the masjids and the communities, I guess, for mostly, I guess let's stick with Michigan and this Hamtramck, Detroit area?
Yeah, Bismillah. So it really depends case by case basis, and it depends on what people view the mosque's role to be. So I would say if we just want to talk about Michigan, and hopefully we can also discuss what I've seen outside of Michigan and outside of US. And I think right now we would have to accept and admit that we do have a lot of mosques, right? So that's for sure. So the number of mosques is not the issue, but every mosque needs to be studied at an individual basis and why it was opened up. So a lot of mosques open up for one reason or another, and let's just being honest, I've seen some mosques are open up because of something that because they don't get along with another mosque. So and they might be very close to the vicinity of the other mosque. So that's just one situation. For example, if that happens, it could end up affecting the crowd of both the mosques. But then you have other areas where the community comes together, works on a main area where most of the community would come to from different backgrounds, have a youth program, community center aspect to it. I feel those end up flourishing more. But at the same time, I've also seen mosques that have beautiful structures and very good infrastructure, and they have the ability to have a lot of programs, but not a lot of people attend. So I would say, it's a mix depending on which community you're talking about. And there's obviously some really good examples of well-run mosques where there's a good attendance and there's also good programs. So kind of heavy question, but I would say overall, if I was to change one thing, would be to kind of in every big community. If you don't mind, I guess I could talk about one community that I was really impressed with, the way they build the mosque. And that would be what I've seen in Dallas, for example. So what they do is all the Muslims get together and they build land, they get land to buy, to make their properties. And then they build a masjid in the middle. And so everyone is connected to that one main mosque. And I know that might not be possible in different communities, but a model where the Muslims are collaborating and discussing their needs and then building a mosque to fulfill those needs.
Alhamdulillah, man, that's beautiful, and thank you for sharing that, Omar Malik, Brother Omar, by the way. Brother BG, Bassam, Gobah, I'm going to go ahead and dish it to you, and then I'm going to dish it to Ibrahim right after. So, Brother Bassam, can you tell us, what are your thoughts about how do you feel is the current state of relationships between the masjids and the communities in our Hamtramck, Detroit area?
Solely in Hamtramck and Detroit, I'd have to say it's insufficient. Because, there's a lot of points that Brother Malik had touched on. And I believe, depending on the mosque solely, a lot of them in Hamtramck, I believe, are just a place to go pray. There's they don't have any programs for the youth, no programs for women or, not even for adults. I believe that, I've been here for 35 years and I feel like we've regressed because as I was growing up, I feel there was more activities, there was more programs, the schools were better, when it comes to the Islamic schools were better. And I don't know what the issue is. Like Brother Malik said, maybe we need to study each one individually to see what the problems are. Why are we regressing instead of, being better and growing as a community and as, Islamic institutions?
Thank you for sharing that, Brother Bassam. And then Brother Ibrahim, I know is a busy man. You know, I see that he's on the phone as well. But Brother Ibrahim, the question is, how do you feel? And by the way, Brother Ibrahim right now is representing. He's part of the volunteer committee at Masjid Mu'adh bin Jabal. And Brother Ibrahim, you mentioned that you're also a part of Masjid al-Kabir. You're on the board. Like, can you wanna first mention what is your title, then answer the question of how do you feel is the current state of relationship between the community and the masjids in the Hamtramck, Detroit area?
Well, good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Ibrahim Aljahim. I am with the volunteers at Masjid Mu'adh. I'm in charge, with them. We work together. I'm not on the board, but I'm with the volunteers that do the programs. With Masjid al-Kabir, the UCC, I'm in charge of doing the fundraising for them, and helping paying off the debt that they owe. And the relationship between the community and the mosques are very good. Okay, they're very close bonded. They solve issues. They help in certain situations. But to talk about other things such as a community center or can they do more? Yes, absolutely they can do more. Are they responsible for what's going on in the community? Yes, they are responsible for what's going on in the community. Are they too late? Yes, they are too late. There's many things we can talk about. And what was your specific question again? The relationship?
Yeah, just the relationship right now. We're going to get into detail more about how we can improve things. But yeah, just the relationship. You said it's good?
It's good, but I agree with Brother Omar what he said. And, certain masajid they open because they don't like the other board members. And that's not a good deal. And that's not a good idea. In Hamtramck, in 2.2 miles, there's 14 masajid. And 2.2. But if you go to Friday prayer, they're all full. So that's a blessing. I don't know if they're coming from different areas and different cities, but subhanAllah, they're all full. Yeah. All the masajids are full on Fridays.
Yeah, so we're going to get into detail about what we can do and also to improve relationships and stuff like that. So I'm going to go straight to you, Ibrahim, on the next question. So get into specific now. Do you feel that masjids provide a safe space? Because, me, I'm a teacher and I hear students, not to get into specific details, but I hear a lot of kids struggling with mental health. I hear a lot of kids struggling with their spiritual health, financial problems, and you hear it, but you wonder, number one, where are they supposed to go for help? And number two, who can they talk to and who exactly is supposed to be the people that are supposed to be helping them? So do you feel that masjids provide that safe space for the youth or adults, not just the youth, even adults who are dealing with these issues?
Well, about a year and a half ago, Sheikh Muhammad al-Sha'ar came from Yemen. Sheikh Muhammad al-Sha'ar is the assistant imam at Masjid Mu'adh. He is the best reader when it comes to the spiritual and the mental health issue. See, we can argue and say, mental health has nothing to do with the mental health. Mental health has nothing to do with the religion or anything else, or black magic. But he cured over, the people that I know, over 25, just the past year. They come to him and he reads on them and he does this and this and that. But, if you have a person that's going through something, they need to go to a Wayne County mental health department, right? The masajid, they would never help. Okay?
Do you think that they should help, though? That's the question. Do you think...
Yes. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, they should help. Yeah. They should help. They should have programs where they talk to kids and give them advice. I've always told the imams, I said, why don't you guys talk about where we at right now? Talk about, filthiness and people throwing hookah cups and garbage bags and everything else in the street. Talk about raising your kids the right way. Talk about the American way. Talk about, teaching them the good things. All the khutbah is about Omar, Uthman, Ali, okay, I respect them. We know they're the leaders of the Muslim world. But come on, talk about what we're going through right now.
Yeah.
If you go to the parks in Hamtramck, literally, you'll see people talking to other girls while other people are standing. We never used to do that in the 90s, and Bassam knows that. There is such a disrespect in the community right now. No one respect. I mean, the father don't even respect the son, and the son don't respect the father. I know a guy that kicked his son out. For 2 months, he was living in the car for smoking weed. Well, guess what? Now he's doing cocaine, he's doing pills, he's doing everything else instead of just doing weed. Because the father kicked him out at the age of 14.
And this is exactly why this discussion is happening, because we feel like that we could come together as a community, and it starts, I feel like, with the Masjids and how they can provide this help within the community. And I'm going to go to Bassam, and then I'm going to go to Brother Omar. I'm going to go to you to see what are some things that you've seen from the other masajid that deal with these kind of issues. So Bassam, do you feel like Masjids are providing a safe space? By the way, this is not speaking on one specific masjid at all. This is, I just want people to understand that we are here to have a discussion and we are trying to make progress. That's all we're trying to do. That's why we hope that nobody name drops anything or anything like that, because we are not talking about one specific masjid. We're just talking about in general, any masjid in the area, and heck, any masjid just in general, what they do as well. So Bassam, can you tell me, do you feel like the masjids provide a safe space for these kind of issues?
That goes back to my answer, with the first question. When I said insufficient, I mean, the masajid, alhamdulillah, they do a lot of good for the community, but I don't think, they're doing as much as they should. The programs like for mental health, for just to get youth into the masajid. I go there and I don't see any youth. Ibrahim said every masjid on Friday is full in Hamtramck, which is 100% accurate. But what about the other days other than Friday prayer? Do you see anybody there other than the first 3-4 rows of the older guys that are, they're there? Why aren't the youth there every day? Why don't we have programs for the youth, to try to get them into the masjid? Whether it's physical activities, whether it's lectures, whether it's tutoring, whether it's any way to get these kids into there, so that they can feel comfortable if they do have any issues, whether it's mental health, depression, financial, anything, they can feel comfortable, I can get help at the masjid. If it's not directly from the masjid, it's from someone there. But if we're not building these relationships at the masjid, then the masjid is not going to be any help.
Thank you for sharing.
If I'm not used to going there and I'm comfortable with anyone there, then I'm not going to go there to seek help.
Thank you, Brother Bassam. And our Brother Mo now has joined us. Brother Muhammad has joined us in this Zoom meeting. I'm just going to get you right into it. By the way, Brother Muhammad is a community member, also a business owner in the area. So the question was, Brother Muhammad, is do you feel masjids provide a safe space for our youth and adults who are dealing with issues such as mental health, spiritual, and financial? Do you feel like that they provide a safe space?
Right now, nowadays, I feel like they do not. Honestly, they do not. I think they can, and I know that they can, but right now, I don't think there's anything there for anybody to grab a hold of. Growing up, we had that. We had that all the time. We had adults, we had elderly, we had teenagers, we had people our age and above around the masjid, and subjects would come up in the parking lot and whatnot, and people would be there to assist you and help you. Now it's too diverse to the point where I don't think anybody wants to really get anybody else involved, or if anybody wants to do their part. It's sad. And honestly, it's very sad. But the answer to the question is, I think honestly, no. There's nobody there that's willing to help anybody at this point right now.
And Jamal Jawani, who is Brother Jamal, said Salam Brothers. He's on Facebook. And he commented that masjids don't provide any safe environment or educated people on mental illnesses. They don't have agenda or programs to help the youth. And then Zakaria Zindani then just said, he just chimed in and said there's a huge disconnect between the masjids and the communities. So if you guys want to get into specific details, Zach, and I know Jamal did, but Zach, if you want to, you can. Brother Omar, now the question to you is, because you've seen a lot of different masajid across the country, even probably outside of the country, what are some of the things that they do to help address these kind of issues that maybe you would give advice to the masajid in the Hamtramck, Detroit area?
I think he's on mute.
Yeah, I think you're on mute. Were you on mute or?
How about now?
Yes, you're good.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, I was just thanking everyone here to be for being honest, because it gives me encouragement to be honest as well. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but you guys are right. I mean, but I would say the way I like to answer it is coming from both sides. First of all, when you talk to the boards of the different massages that are struggling, they would say that they don't have committed people. That a lot of people give a lot of ideas, but then when it comes to commitment, they're not willing to help. And then if you come from the other side, they would say that we're ready to commit, but then no one is listening, to our ideas. So there has to be a bridge of a gap between that two, and the communities that have honest, board members that are not just focused on the financial and the logistical aspect of the masjid, and they're able to have a bigger vision of, going past the day-to-day logistics and think about what services they're going to provide. And then at the same time, if they do make that happen, then they need committed volunteers to make that work. So when I moved from Canada, I was actually born in Canada, and grew up in high school there. High school was a rough time for me, just trying to understand my Muslim identity. But alhamdulillah, we got into the right hands and a lot of youth programs. To be honest, I still remember the first talk that actually affected me was not a khutbah, not a Sunday school lecture. It was it was a youth trip in a campsite where we were just in nature and looking around us about, pondering over the universe. And the talk affected me really, because it came from the bottom of the heart of the brother who was giving the talk. And I can see that, 15, 20 years later now, alhamdulillah, I still remember one statement that the brother made was, one day you guys are going to be leading communities and doing this. And we couldn't ever imagine that, that would be the case. But there were people that stepped up and saw the good in the youth and did something about it, even if the masjid wasn't doing anything. So when I moved from Canada Canada was a very happening masjid because I was right across the border in Windsor. So we typically get a full mosque for Maghrib, Isha, and Fajr is also 300 people, 300 to 500 people, is even more now. So number-wise, it's not an issue. And there's a gym and mosque. There's a gym. So a lot of youth programs, a lot of activities, very active. But when I moved here, it was the community had, it was like a shock to me because maybe 10 people show up to the masjid for Fajr or other prayers. So at that point, I had to really look into myself and ask, the talents that I learned through other communities and successful models, how can I implement them here? So I didn't make any excuses, and alhamdulillah, we started with whatever we had available. So we had basically a basketball court, or not even a court, but basically just a rim available to us in the masjid parking lot. And we did a 3-on-3 tournament, basketball tournament, brought the youth to the masjid, started planning, made some youth friends from that first event. And alhamdulillah, fast forward 10, 15 years later, 150 youth coming on a weekly basis, basketball leagues, football leagues, soccer league, sisters programs, brothers programs. It was massive success, mashallah. The youth of Omar program, especially you might have heard of. Then we even came to Hamtramck. We used Bridge Academy to attract people to play basketball and then give talks and then give them the tools to go back to their massages and be active. So we, alhamdulillah, was on a roll, but I would say at a certain stage you have to ask how can we make this model work in every masjid? And for that you have to have an open dialogue, and people need to work together as a community. Different masajids, whatever one masjid is doing well should learn from that masjid, be willing to admit that we have a problem and we have some weaknesses that we can learn from the other mosques. But if we're not willing to learn from each other, from successful models, and I still remember actually getting a phone call from one of them, since we're talking about Hamtramck, while we were doing this basketball leagues and we were trying to give alternatives to the youth, we got a phone call from a father saying, I know what you're trying to do over here in our community, and don't take our youth away from us. And I know your agenda, and I know you're trying to take people away from our programs and bring them to your programs. I was like, brother, I have no idea what you're talking about. Your son comes here, he enjoys. I don't have no agendas. And he comes maybe because those services are not being provided in his mosque, but literally like fathers calling me, saying stuff like that, like, just leave my son alone. I know your agendas, blah, blah, blah. So
yeah, it sounds like this. I mean, it's their own insecurities and their own issues that they're dealing with over there in that situation. But alhamdulillah, that is some great advice. Thank you, Brother Omar, for that. And so the next question I'm gonna move on to is continuing on. I know I kind of touched on it. Brother Omar mentioned, and this is just kind of piggyback off of it. The next question is about providing programs and organizations for the youth to be a part of, like sports, after school programs, that any extracurricular activity that is. So the question is, do you think that Masajid are providing these kind of things? Because first question was about services for health issues and spiritual issues and financial issues. Now, do you think the Masajid are providing enough extracurricular activities for kids to join in? I'm going to let Malahi start off with this. Brother Mo, I'm going to let you start off first with this question. Do you feel that they're offering enough after-school extracurricular activities?
I think they're not offering anything at all. That's the problem we're having right now. Like I said, when we were younger, we used to go to Masjid and they used to drop us off at the mosque right after school, and we'd be there till Isha. They need basketball. They take us to the park. The Sheikh Zakaria, I remember, used to have a rim in front of the school. Now we have nothing. I mean, I would love to take. I was just telling Bassam, I would love to take my son to the masjid, drop him off at Asr, have him pray Asr. Masjid Ma'ad's got a beautiful basketball court that I get to see. I just heard things about it. I mean, they can do so much with what they have. And I'm not just talking about Masjid Ma'ad. I'm talking about all the mosques in general. They have nothing going on for our kids. Our kids have nowhere to go, And I would rather have them be in the mosques, connected to the mosque, whether it's playing basketball. Once you have them at the mosque, you literally, you have their control. They can be playing 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 2-on-2, whatnot. You can stop the game anytime you want. They're right there in front of you. Stop them, put them down.